Charley O'Hara is in our studio this morning. If you have a question for him, give us a call right now, 436-1212. Really good at answering legal questions. You get a little experience underneath your belt. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Great to be here.
All right, let's go ahead and let's get to our first caller. Go ahead. What's your question for Charley?
Good morning. My question concerns workman's comp. I was injured in December of 13. My preliminary hearing was on December of 2014. And I still haven't heard anything from the judge whether this is a yay or a nay. Is there a statute of limitations as far as how long they have before they make a ruling?
Well, statute of limitations actually applies. I know what you mean, but a statute of limitations applies between the time something happens and you would file the lawsuit or the claim. That would be the statute of limitations. What you're talking about is a hearing officer for a workman's compensation has heard evidence and has taken it under advisement. That means they're thinking about it, or they want to look up the law or do something, and then they're supposed to give a decision. They're supposed to do that relatively quickly, within a reasonable amount of time normally, and I don't know if they have a specific amount of time they're supposed to, but a lot of times the hearing officers, the judges get busy and those get delayed. So if you're worried about that, if you have an attorney, you might contact the attorney. The attorney could somehow hint to the judge that we'd like a decision pretty soon, or if you don't have an attorney, you could call up the aide or something of the hearing officer and ask, do you have any idea when the decision's going to be? It's not usually a good idea to pressure the hearing officer or the judge, but at least ask, do you have any idea when it's going to come? And if it's sitting on their desk and they forgot about it, they'll get to it. You know,
for somebody like you that's in a courtroom on a regular basis, and for those of us who are not, we may not realize how long it can take for some proceedings. Do something like this, can it take a long time?
Oh yeah, some proceedings take quite a while, and people think it's people aren't doing anything, but sometimes people are trying to figure out what to do because it's kind of complex, what the best strategy is, and when you get it to a judge or a hearing officer, the judge may hear the evidence and say, gee, what am I going to do? Both sides have a good point. I need to look this up. I need to be sure I'm doing it right, because they can appeal, and sometimes it takes the judges a while. And then the way our system works, rather than have the judge have the next day to do that, he has a new case to do, and he has to do that in his off hours, so sometimes it takes a while.
Yeah, it takes a while for them, and so bottom line for us is if we have a claim, be patient, stay in contact with your attorney, and if you don't have an attorney, contact the clerk of the court and the aides, and they can get those questions answered.
It's usually best to have an attorney if you're going to court. They know the system, and it helps a lot.
Yeah, the ins and the outs. All right, Charley, thanks so much for coming in. We appreciate it.